This AI tool can be your free secretary, research assistant, essentially another brain that will save you an incredible amount of time and money. Yes, this is true. It can even be your study guide. It can take notes for you. It can synthesize these notes together into quizzes for you. It can even create a podcast episode for you to listen to, all about the information that you want to learn about. What is this tool? Well, we're going to get into it right now. This tool is NotebookLM. It is created by Google and it is powered by Gemini 2.0. This is another one of those AI tools that is going to change the way that you do things. What is it? According to this, you are going to think smarter, not harder. It is the ultimate tool for understanding information that matters to you. You can upload your sources, you get instant insights, and you can see the source. You can learn on the go with your very own customized podcast episodes. We're going to talk about some of the use cases that you can use this tool for, particularly in the healthcare field. And I'm going to use the example of medical aesthetics. But as you will see, you can let your imagination run wild with this tool as well. It is going to be absolutely incredible. Let's log in. You go to notebooklm.google and then you click on Try NotebookLM. Once you log in, you will see that you have your notebooks here. If you're first logging in, you may not have anything here at all, but I'm going to show you exactly how we use this and the power of this tool. We click on Create New, and here is the window. On this side is where we're going to add our sources, the content that we want Notebook to remember. The middle window is where we are going to chat with the resource, with the AI that is going to then access these sources and then deliver those insights to us. And on the far side here in the studio, this is where we can have a lot of fun with this. We can create study guides, we can create briefing docs, we can create timelines, we can create FAQs, and we can even create deep dive conversations with two hosts specifically about the content that you upload. This part is really magical. One of the big differences, by the way, between this and, say, ChatGPT is that with ChatGPT, you can only upload one source easily. There are ways around that if you're using an API, but for the average person who's just uploading a source, you get that one source. Here, you can upload many sources. Let me give you a concrete example. I want to show you how this actually works. So let's say we want to learn about the dreaded vascular occlusions in aesthetic medicine. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of sources to give this AI tool some knowledge about this. As you can see, when you click on Add Sources, you've got a number of different things that you can do. You can actually upload a file, and it can be a PDF, a text file, markdown file, or an audio file like an MP3. You could also directly link documents from your Google Drive. So you get Google Docs and Google Slides. You can also provide a link to a website or to a YouTube video if that has particular information that you want to get some insights from. And finally, if all else fails, you can simply come over to the final area and click on copied text, and you can paste in the text that you have. In my case, I'm going to do a combination of a couple of these. First of all, I'm going to upload a file, and I'm going to choose the management of VO PDF that I previously downloaded. I'm also going to add a second source, and I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to add the cosmetic filler induced VO. And for my third source, I'm actually going to add a website, and I've got an interesting website here, concerned about vascular occlusion. Here's what you need to know. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm simply going to come back to here, and I'm going to go to a website. And in this case, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to paste that URL in, and I'm going to click Insert. And now what you will see is that along the side here, we have the three different sources that I've inserted. If you click on the three little dots here in the corner, you'll notice that you have the option to remove a source or rename a source if that's easier for your filing system. And then over here, you can see that we have selected all sources to be used as the content. But if you want to, you could unclick that and just click one or two or any combination of them if you prefer that. The other thing that I will point out to you is that if you click on one of these, you will immediately see the key topics, you will see the summary, and here is all of the content further down. In the chat window here, you can see that you've got the summary of this particular article. If we click on this little icon here, you can close the source view and we can look at the next one. And again, here is some information about this particular article. And here is the summary of this particular article, or PDF in this case. And then if we go back and we click on the third one, then this is all now based on that website that I pasted in. And here is the summary of that. So what can we do with this? Well, we can now start asking it questions, making sure that we have selected all three sources here. And let's say, what is the first step in management of a VO? This is going to now look at all three sources, and you can see that it came up with an answer. The first step in managing a vascular occlusion is to immediately stop the treatment. If you are interested to see the reference, you can actually click on the number 1 and it takes you right to the source where it says that. Pretty impressive. And you can go on to read through this. The practitioner should discontinue injecting any more product, etc., etc. Now, what you'll notice is over here on the bottom right, there is an area where it says saved notes will appear here. So if you find something that is very helpful to you, or something that you want to be able to refer back to very easily, so let's say you want this little paragraph here to be something that you can access later on, you simply click on Save to Note, and there you go. You've got this now saved under here. Let's do something a little bit more interesting now. Let's say that we want to get a briefing doc based on all of these sources that we have on the left side. We simply click Briefing Doc, and it's generating a note over here. And in just a moment or two, we will have a document that essentially is now summarizing all three of these sources for us. And there it is. Let's click on that. And here it is, the briefing document, synthesizing the key themes and ideas. And you can go through and you can see the main themes and ideas: understanding vascular occlusion, clinical presentation and diagnosis, management and treatment, prevention. And again, the key thing here is that this has synthesized all of the information. This truly is your research assistant, and it is putting these things together. You can put in many, many more sources, and this will come up with a lovely summary. You can also then simply click on the FAQ button over here, and this will generate the frequently asked questions about this particular topic. Incredible. We can click on this, and now you can see that we've got the frequently asked questions over here. And here we go. What is cosmetic filler-induced vascular occlusion, and why is it a concern? And there you go. There's your answer. Imagine using some of this for content ideas for your social media. Just go through the FAQs. How common is a vascular occlusion from fillers? Incredible. Fantastic. We keep going on, and we can see that we've got lots of great questions here. Okay, I'm going to close that down and show you another feature. Let's say that we have a topic that we want to study, we want to learn about. Well, let's click on the study guide. And now this is generating a guide with questions and answers that you can then quiz yourself on to make sure that you have a good understanding of this topic. Here we go. Answer the following questions in 2 to 3 sentences each. Number 1, what are the potential long-term sequelae of cosmetic filler-induced vascular occlusion? And then scrolling down, here is the answer key. Can lead to disfiguring skin necrosis, vision loss, and stroke. Depends on the location and extent. So you get the idea. There are even essay questions. Discuss the role of emergency department professionals in the early identification, triage, and management of filler-induced vascular occlusion. And then it has a glossary of key terms that have come up in these 3 sources. Fantastic. All right. So that gives you an idea of what you can do. The timeline is a nice feature as well. This looks through the sources, and this identifies key things along the timeline of vascular occlusions, when things were discovered, who discovered them. Let's click on this and get an example of that. You can see here the timeline says early 21st century. Dermal fillers become increasingly popular. 2003, Restylane is introduced to the US market. In the recent decades, 2014, 2015, 2016, etc., etc., etc. Fantastic. And a cast of characters as well. These are likely the authors of these papers, but nevertheless, that is an interesting way to look at this as well. One of the things that I think is most exciting about this, and I think it's absolutely incredible, is now you can actually create your customized podcast based on the sources that you enter into this tool. You can customize the audio overview. So you can optionally put in things to focus on. In this case, you might want to say, I'd like you to focus on the treatment of vascular occlusions. Or you might say, I want you to focus on a particular area of the face. I want you to focus on the nose. I want you to focus on certain age groups. You can think of almost anything that you want, and you get the tool to focus on it. And then you would hit generate. But for the purpose of this example, I'm just going to hit generate over here. This immediately is starting to create a podcast episode that you can then download and listen to on the go. And this will teach you about this particular topic. This podcast episode sounds unbelievably realistic to my ears, and I'll play you a little bit here in just a moment. And it is a combination of two people talking. There is a woman voice and a man voice, and they're having a very casual conversation about this topic. So here we go. You can see that it actually created a 21 minute and 28 second podcast on this. And let's just have a listen to this and see what it sounds like.
Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're going to be talking about cosmetic fillers, but not like the usual stuff, like before and afters. We're going deeper. We're going to explore a potential risk that you might not have even heard of: vascular occlusion.
Yeah, vascular occlusion. It's kind of scary when you think about it. I mean, so much is...
All right, let's just fast forward a little bit here and kind of get into the meat of it and see what they're talking about.
They start to break down. And eventually it can turn black, which is that necrosis we talked about.
So that's a sign of, serious damage then.
Yeah, definitely requires immediate medical attention.
Very interesting. And check this out. There's even more you can do. Let's say we click on interactive mode here. Now I want to show you what happens here. And it says microphone is in use because when I start playing this, I can jump in almost as if I was calling in to this podcast episode and ask a question. Check this out and listen to the interaction here.
Oh, hey, our listener wants to join in. What's up?
Can you go into a little bit more about the main cause of the vascular occlusion?
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
I think that's a great question, actually.
It's a really important question.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So based on the sources that we've been consulting, it looks like the main cause is when the filler goes directly into a blood vessel.
Right, that intravascular.
I think that's amazing. I think that is absolutely amazing. So this is just a little taste of what you can do. Of course, when you add your sources, you can then change the name of this. When you go back to your homepage, then you can see now here is the one that I just added: aesthetic injections, managing vascular occlusions. So there you have it. Google's NotebookLM, your secretary, your research assistant, your brain, completely free. Check it out at notebooklm.google.com. Let me know in the comments how you see yourself using this, because I'm sure there are a million different use cases that most people have not yet even thought of. And I would love to hear your comments. As always, if you found this helpful, like and subscribe, and there will be more and more tutorials and tips coming out about how AI can enhance your medical practice.